Unfortunately, some voices fall into disrepair. A voice can become damaged for a whole number of reasons, with the level of injury varying from acute vocal strain through to chronic issues including vocal fold paralysis and laryngeal cancer. Regardless, singers who experience voice damage generally have one question: will my damaged voice ever fully recover?
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
G'day there, my name is Dr. Dan and I'm a singing voice specialist based in Brisbane, Australia. It has been my privilege to teach people to sing for over 20 years, and as a part of my studio practice, I also work in the field of voice rehabilitation. Voices require rehabilitation whenever they experience wear and tear that leaves the voice feeling and sounding less than optimal for prolonged periods of time. Generally speaking, voice damage will include the onset of severe vocal fatigue, reduction in range, inability to maintain pitch, as well as a husky, rough or raspy sound that cannot be intentionally controlled by or removed by the voice user. Having an impaired voice can be scary and can leave the voice user feeling like the voice will never return to its original state of health. Thus, the all too regular question, will my damaged voice ever fully recover? Well, to answer this critical query, we must first set up some definitions and necessary parameters, because voice damage comes in all shapes and sizes. To start with, there are countless factors that might contribute to the voice damage. Poor technique and singing when sick is undoubtedly two such factors that might damage the singing voice, but extreme vocal loads sustained over prolonged periods of time also contribute to the development of voice disorders. And this is why good voice care should always include periods of vocal rest in balance to vocal load. Shewell, in her book Voice Work, defines relative voice rest as not talking over noisy environments, not shouting, not talking all day long, allowing some periods of silence during a day, avoiding late nights and noisy evenings. Now, vocal load is a little harder to define because it is different for everyone. What one voice may cope with will fatigue another voice rather quickly. We can all learn to improve our vocal stamina with the development of task-specific techniques, but ultimately every voice is unique and we each do well to determine the boundaries of our own anatomies and what our personal instruments will and will not cope with. As I suggested earlier, there are various levels of voice disorder. The World Health Organization nominates 3 levels of disorder: impairment, disability, and handicap. The first level of voice disorder, impairment, accounts for what many of us might describe as sore and tired voice that resolves after a few days of reduced vocal load. Aside from observing some vocal rest, voice impairment requires little to no medical or therapeutic intervention. The third level of voice disorder, handicap, defines the voice as impeding a person's general daily activity relative to other individuals in their community, whether it be socially or vocationally. Our area of interest in this video lays with the second level of disorder, disability, which might be defined as prolonged changes to vocal sound and function, often preceded by impairment. Voice disorders resulting in a disability typically come about due to one or two stimuli, organic or function. Titze and Abbott write, traditionally, organic pathologies are those for which a specific lesion, disease or malfunction can be identified in some organ of the body relevant to voice production. Function pathologies usually are defined as those for which there is no identifiable lesion, but voice production is somehow abnormal. Voice disorders like vocal fold cysts, spasmodic dysphonia and laryngeal cancer all fall under the grouping of organic pathology. They often require surgery and speech therapy intervention. Typically originating from the functional activity of the voice, functional pathologies include muscle tension dysphonia, nodules and vocal fold hemorrhage. It is important to note that the line that separates organic from functional is often blurred by the multiplicity effect of 2 or more contributing factors. That is, vocal disorders can, and often do, onset because of both organic and functional matters. For example, the singer with a vocal fold hemorrhage, which is functional, may have developed it because they needed to sing on a voice with viral laryngitis, which is organic. As you are probably starting to see, when seeking to answer the question, will my damaged voice ever fully recover, you must first assess the type of disorder, the level of dysfunction, and the ongoing requirements of the voice, both long and short term. In my studio, I never make promises about how a voice will respond to the rehabilitative journey. Every voice is different, and every human being that houses that voice is different also. What I can tell you is that voice care professionals like myself are getting better at leading voices along rehabilitative paths that have excellent outcomes. Now, functional disorders like nodules and vocal fold hemorrhage, especially when treated in the acute stages of onset, often have an excellent prognosis of full recovery. More significant issues such as cancer of the larynx and muscle tension dysphonia often require a longer path of recovery and consequently an adjustment of expectations concerning recovery may be necessary. Without seeking to be absolute, prescriptive, or even give a diagnosis of your individual voice concern, I think the following breakdown may prove helpful when forming your expectations around the recovery of your voice. Firstly, if your voice is merely impaired, meaning it is tired and sore from general wear and tear, you can expect it to fully recover after a short period of rest. If your voice is disabled due to an organic or functional pathology, your prognosis of voice recovery will be dependent upon the nature of the voice disorder and the level of the medical and therapeutic intervention you receive. To give you a sense of hope, I want you to know that often the prognosis for the disabled voice is a positive one, with many voices returning to full health. Finally, the handicapped voice will require high levels of intervention and a greater sense of resilience because the journey to full recovery may be a long one, and for some handicapped voices, the rehabilitative journey will not result in a return to its pre-damaged state. The handicapped voice user may need to adjust to a new normal and learn to habilitate their voice according to a new set of parameters. With everything I've said in this video, it is essential for me to stress that your vocal recovery, especially if your vocal condition is disabled or handicapped, is best directed by a laryngologist who will almost certainly work in team with a speech pathologist and singing voice specialist like myself. Please don't use YouTube to self-diagnose. There is too much at stake. If you're looking for more videos about general voice care, then I've put a playlist together especially designed to walk you through many of the things that will help you to keep your voice healthy. Always remember, prevention is better than cure. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.